ACC tournament victory in his tenure tonight. Hokies have the opening touch. It is great to have you with us on this Wednesday evening from Durham. Virginia Tech looking to strike early. A lot of familiarity, Cedric, between these two teams. Duke and Virginia Tech met just a couple of weeks ago up in Blacksburg. It was a 1-0 victory for Duke. And what was a really well-played game between these two clubs.
Well-played game all around, and we speak to Coach Brizendine, and he says they played 89 minutes of great soccer, and they had a minute lapse, and Duke scored a great goal. But these teams, to your point, played a very even match, so we expect them to pick up right where they left off, very familiar with each other.
Does that favor one side or the other in the match tonight?
I would say it favors the underdog a little bit, you know, just in terms of they know what they're going to get. They have time to prepare. They just saw them. Everything is on the line for this Virginia Tech team. You know, they need to keep advancing to have any possibility of playing late into the postseason. So I'd say it favors them a little bit, but the way this Duke team has been clicking and scoring, I don't know if there's a team right now that can slow them down.
We mentioned Duke scoring the 24 goals over their last 5 matches. Duke's also been equally impressive on the defensive end. The Blue Devils have really locked down on that side of the ball, which maybe might make them even more impressive, the fact that they're not permitting much offense.
Yeah, we give so much credit to the offense, justifiably so. They lead the country in every major scoring statistic, but this defense has been lights out. And it hasn't always been the consistent lineup. You know, there's been other guys stepping in, and it's been next man up mentality. And especially in the month of October, they were 5-0-2 with 7 total goals allowed.
Early foul on the Blue Devils, and this is where Virginia Tech needs to take advantage, Cedric, these free kick opportunities inside their attacking third.
They absolutely have to execute on any of these opportunities where there's a stoppage at play. As Coach Brizendine mentioned, this Duke team isn't a team you slow down. You meet them with the same energy. You find spaces on the field to try to exploit them, especially on counterattacks, but you have to capitalize on set-piece opportunities.
See who takes this set-piece chance for the Hokies. Wearing their camouflage uniforms tonight. Service in, and that one headed over top of the net.
And that was a well-taken free kick.
There's Winslow Spiel, who has been so good for Duke in goal this year. He's been kind of the stalwart of this Duke defense, 36 saves, a sub-1 goal against average.
Simply the most experienced goalkeeper in Division I soccer. He has a lifetime 75% save percentage, and he's been lights out this year. Gives this team a ton of confidence coming through the spine of the defense.
Hofstra transfer, big pickup for the Blue Devils. You see Duke pressuring there with Colton Pleasance, and picked up by Wenzel, the senior keeper for Virginia Tech. Well, he has been equally as impressive for the Hokies this season.
He has started off on fire. You know, first 2 matches were shutouts in a Virginia Tech uniform. First time that has happened actually in the history of Virginia Tech being in the ACC. 20 years.
Luke Thomas helps create the turnover. Now the Blue Devils trying to play through the middle. Touched on. Kabusu punches one in. Oh, good run there by Duke, and Pleasance couldn't quite connect, and Virginia Tech survives that little half opportunity for the Blue Devils.
Pleasance needed a couple of more inches in stature, and that's probably a goal. But we see right away Duke getting expansive, Kabusu getting up on that right wing. We will see these wingers push up very aggressively. They are going to take this game to Virginia Tech.
Nice step through. Masalis helps create the turnover. On ahead for Bjornsson. We mentioned his accolades this year with the 12 goals. Blue Devils have the throw in. There's Bjornsson, the Iceland native. John Kerr, the Duke head coach, in his 17th season guiding his alma mater. You see his ACC tournament resume. 3-time ACC tournament champion, but have not won one since 2006. And as we mentioned at the top, he really is bullish on how difficult it is to win this tournament, especially now with the expanded ACC.
He is, and he's looking very relaxed and comfortable in this 80-degree weather. Shows you how comfortable he is with this matchup, right?
He's dressed for the second half when the temperature drops.
When the temperature drops and this team raises the tempo.
Nearly 5 minutes in. What do you make of what we've seen so far? It feels like both teams have pretty much executed what we thought they were going to try to execute.
Yeah, I think both teams are still trying to settle into the match and get some consistent possession. Exactly what we expect from Duke. They're going to go fast. They're going to get expansive, find their wingers, and then try to find one of these goal scorers up top. Virginia Tech wants to possess the ball. You know, they're not going to change their game plan. It's the same approach regardless of opponent. They want to bring the energy and really take control of the game. So look for them to try to get possession, especially in the midfield.
I'm glad you brought up the pace of this match because it's two contrasting styles. Duke, of course, wants to play fast. That's what's worked for the Blue Devils this year. Tech, as you mentioned, wants to slow it down. How important is it for both these teams to try to dictate the style of game they want to play?
Well, I think, as Duke is the front runner, you obviously want to control the pace of the match. And Virginia Tech, who needs this win, to continue advancing and continue playing this season, they have to control this match to have a chance. So it is going to be a tactical battle for the first 15 minutes or so until it settles down. We see Duke, for instance, isn't pressing very high. They're letting Virginia Tech play out of the back right now. But Duke has lots of numbers in a low box right below the semicircle.
And Virginia Tech, you look at their record, 7-4-5, maybe a bit deceiving. You see the note there. They've played all 5 of the top seeds in the ACC tournament. They're the only team in the ACC to have to face that murderer's row this year.
Yeah, they've got a lot of quality experience, and they've held the bulk of their opponents below their scoring average. So defensively, which is the hardest aspect to gel on a team of so many newcomers, they've got, 8 transfers and 6 freshmen? They've really gelled quickly, and they played some good soccer despite the record.
And to your point, 5 of their 8 ACC opponents have held under their scoring average. Duke averaging, 3 goals a game now. 55 goals scored on the season for the Blue Devils.
Have to keep up and recalculate their nation-leading percentage every game.
Right on cue, almost 3.5.
Yep, there we go.
Best in the Division I ranks. Cardona plays one back. Virginia Tech has had the one shot on that free kick opportunity earlier in the first half. Really never threatened the net. Nice step through play there by Cito, and wins the possession back for Duke.
And we will see Duke gradually try to raise this tempo throughout the half. It is a core tenet of this program and this team. Coach Kerr often says we raise the tempo in the first half, we wear teams down, and then we explode in the second half. There's a reason they're outscoring their opponents, 40 to 10 now in the second half?
Yes. 55 to 17 overall this season, which is an impressive number. How do you go about raising the tempo? Is it a gradual thing, or is it something you can just, like driving a car, just hit the accelerator?
Just little points, quick restarts, quick reactions, not arguing with the referees, getting in position, quickly dropping defensively, being in position, movement off the ball. Really, it's just reactions. Everything's proactive instead of reactive.
Some of that feels to me like a culture thing, where you have to get buy-in from everybody on your roster.
Yeah, and it's a team pride thing. We've seen it defensively. They defend as a team, whether it be the press that these 2 forwards are setting, the repress in the midfield, or we often see offensive players dropping back to help on defense. This team always has 11 players behind the ball when they're under attack.
Thomas making a run there, a little too much weight on that pass. Throw in for Virginia Tech, seeing Duke now pressing perhaps a little higher, trying to create the turnover, and they're attacking third.
And situational opportunity. Virginia Tech's got 3 players behind the ball, and they're back in their 18. That's when you want to press them, pin a center back, and make them go to the outside, try to create a turnover.
Yeah, we talk about some of the stars for this Duke team, and we highlighted Adam Luckhurst in the first half, a guy that has scored 11 goals for Duke this year. Not out there to start the match. It tells you a little bit about the depth of this team when you've got a guy who scored 11 goals, has 24 points, and he's coming off the bench for your squad.
When you can bring the 3rd-ranked scorer in the Atlantic Coast Conference off the bench, you're playing with house money, and you have what I call first-world problems, my friend.
Perhaps similar for Virginia Tech. One of their leading scorers, Ethan Hackenberg, also comes off the bench. Now, perhaps that's a little strategic for Virginia Tech. 8 of the 13 games in which they've scored this year, that first goal has come after a sub has entered the contest.
That's one way to keep juicing that stat, is bring your leading scorer off the bench, right?
Throw in here for Oimana. ACC all-freshman team a season ago, playing in 19 matches for the Hokies.
And he's explosive. He's got a couple of goals this season. He will get up along that wing, and they will try to get him involved in the offense when they have numbers up.
Like Chow, the junior out of France. International flair to both of these teams. That's become such a big part of the collegiate game over the last number of years, is the international player.
Oh, it really has. It's opened up so many opportunities for young men, but it's really changed the American collegiate soccer landscape. You know, we remember Akron's emergence in the early 2000s. They were one of the first teams to really fully embody that philosophy of bringing in majority foreign players.
Thomas sidesteps the defender, plays it ahead. Bjornsson unable to shake from the defender. Oh, what a headsy play. Look out. Pleasance goes into the Virginia Tech technical area, and that's an aggressive play from the Duke graduate student.
Well, you mentioned that start and stop button on the offense. Colton Pleasance does not have a stop button. He gives 110% effort in everything he does on the pitch.
Transfer from UNCW. First team all CAA selection, 36 career games for the Seahawks. Has had a great year for Duke, 4 goals, 4 assists.
He's really been a catalyst in this midfield. He's mostly played as a 10 this season, behind those 2 prolific goal scorers. We've seen him slide up in these last 2 matches into a forward position, and we saw the amazing goal he scored last match.
Duke trying to dump one into the corner. Not a bad idea by Acito, just couldn't track it down. And it'll stay with the Blue Devils on this end.
And this is what we'll really see Duke push numbers up. They want to pin this team back as deep as possible with 10 or 11 behind it, find opportunities with quick pivots, and then execute in the box.
First goal so important in every match, but particularly in the postseason. And in Duke's case against the Virginia Tech team was really pressing here. Is the first goal that much more paramount for Duke?
Absolutely. Well, the first goal applies pressure. You know, and the team that scores first, it changes their, you know, then you want to get the second. That's the most dangerous lead. But getting that first puts the other team under pressure immediately, and they often have to modify their style, whether it's intentional or just unintentionally.
Bjornsson unable to flick that one on. Wenzel there to make the stop. This way for Cardona. Into the ACC preseason watch list, one of the captains on this Virginia Tech team, along with Carter Hensley.
Really looking forward to seeing Cardona match up on this wing. You know, Duke's got, whether it be Luke Thomas, whether it be Drew Kerr over there, if he's inverted or playing on his natural side, they've got some really dynamic wingers. That's going to be a good matchup throughout. We have to keep an eye on.
Centio Clemens battling, and Virginia Tech with another set piece opportunity, the first corner kick of the night for the Hokies. Who do you look for Virginia Tech to target on this set piece?
They've got a few big guys. I think it's more about position of the ball. You know, I expect this based on where they're lining up. They want to get it right across the 6. And they're bringing numbers. They have 2 lines, so they're trying to win this first ball as well as the rebound if it happens.
Play it short. And a foul gives it back to Duke. Missed opportunity for Virginia Tech.
A tremendous missed opportunity. You really only get 1 chance a game to catch a team off guard with a short corner.
Bjornsson in the middle.
It's a great piece of build work out of the back by Camasito.
Duke reversing the flow, looking for Masalis. Settles it nicely. Played in front, and a nice slide play by Virginia Tech. Tremendous effort by Gardner.
Great recovery by Gardner. Now, what I noticed is look how much time Masalis has on that ball. Virginia Tech, they're going to get punished if they continue sitting this deep. They have to step out and grab these Duke players, especially on set piece opportunities.
surprised Duke didn't try for a little better build there on that corner kick?
Well, they had time, but the run was on. I mean, Jorgensen was coming right across the box. I mean, he had a man right on his back, but I mean, that's the right ball. But to your point, you do have some time to work it around. You know, they weren't stepping aggressively. There was plenty of space.
Bjornsson is obviously going to be marked extremely tight by Virginia Tech with the 12 goals, the 27 points. How does he work through that?
Well, you would assume so. You know, I was a little surprised with Coach Brizendine's answer.
Yeah.
You know, you can't really single out individuals on this team because they can score from so many different places and in so many different ways. But yes, they're always going to have a man on him. Specifically, you know, if he gets turned to goal as he is right now, they want him with his back to goal as a facilitator. They don't want him running at them. So watch them to double up him consistently if he has his back, you know, to their play and he's coming to goal.
I imagine number 9 for Duke is going to be at the top of every scouting report for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Masalis chips that one ahead. 50-50 ball. Pleasant's trying to win it for Duke. It comes back to Wenzel, who resets for Virginia Tech.
And really, in this matchup of Colton Pleasant, we see Wolfie dropping back a little deeper. You know, they're trying to find his head so he can get flick-ons, but he's going to be the target 9 bringing that ball down, and Colton Pleasant is going to run off of him.
Louisville and Clemson 1-1. Clemson scoring first on a penalty kick. Louisville responding a minute later to tie that one up. Pouring rain down in Clemson as well. Blue Devils trying to pour in the first goal, and that one just missed.
Drew Kerr again had a great match against Notre Dame. What he's really had success with lately, he's inverted on that right side so he can cut in with his left foot. He's been going to his right pretty routinely and is throwing defenses off. We saw an amazing goal created last game. We see it again. He goes to his right and gets an opportunity. He's in, just missed the connection. Looks like he got caught between a pass and a shot.
Duke wanted to foul in the box, didn't get it. Virginia Tech plays it forward. Back to Kerr for a moment. Duke and Virginia Tech, we mentioned, played a couple of weeks ago. It was a 1-0 win for the Blue Devils up in Blacksburg. It was Drew Kerr who scored the only goal. And John Kerr, his dad, who's the head coach, said that goal was just immaculate.
Oh, yeah. And John Kerr, he's reluctant to overpraise, you know, his sons with the Kerr name, but that one deserved it. And rightfully so. He makes them earn it. But 53rd minute, absolute screamer of a goal. Had an amazing touch, then a second touch to set himself up, and he slotted it in.
Feels like we have seen Duke really turn the volume up on the tempo over the last 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, they're pressing in a good way.
Creates the turnover there. Nice side step. Physical play. No foul. We play on. Ball in front. Virginia Tech, a slither of space, and the shot blocked by Duke. Hokies asking for the handball, didn't get it.
You know what I love about that is I thought it was a good build from Clements coming out of the back, but it created a turnover. Look who's on the other end of that to save that shot. Clements did a great job of dropping back to be in position.
We're taking another look here. The officials have gone to the monitor too, Cedric, on that play to see if that was a handball on the Blue Devils.
If it is a handball, it would be on Kabusu,
yes, and
not on Clements. Both contacts look inadvertent. We'll see what's called.
There's Cintaio Clements, and while we have a moment as they're going to review, what an incredible story of resiliency and battling through adversity for Cintaio Clements.
A young man I know very well, affectionately call him Cinti. I coached him a couple of summers ago. As you said, phenomenal young man. He's had an up and down career, whether it be injuries or, you know, just not being in the lineup as much as he'd like. And he's stuck with it. He's been consistent and had a really, you know, what I considered a special moment after last match, where I think he realized the magnitude of the full circle moment of his career, and saw him and Coach Kerr sharing a moment after the game, and had a chance to catch up with him a little before this match. And he is extremely appreciative of the opportunity. He's living in the moment. He stepped right in, and he's made a difference on this Duke back line. Very proud of what he's done.
The result of the review, we're being told, is no penalty kick, as they're saying hit the elbow perhaps first, or the forearm. So no penalty kick for Virginia Tech. Coach Brizendine obviously pleading his team's case there in the technical area, but a good call on both on the pitch and then a good call on the review.
Yeah, Kabuso, yeah, he's turning. He doesn't even see the ball. His arms are down by his side. Now, if he would have raised his arm a little bit higher, that may have been more of a calling question.
We've ditched the heavy coat, by the way, for Coach Kerr.
It's starting to warm up out here.
Duke's turned the tempo up. It's getting a little hotter on the pitch tonight. There's Kabusu, talented rookie, one of a number of talented freshmen on this Duke roster.
And he's stepped right in. He's played in that right back position. He's also slid into an interior midfield position at certain times this season. He's been a difference maker.
Another sloppy turnover. Goimana to toss it in. Goimana gets it back. Surprised we're seeing very few fouls called in the first half.
Well, they're letting them play, which I love, and you know, and we'll see. You know, I think referee's done a great job of keeping control of the match thus far. You get the postseason play, you want to see each team finish with 11, and you want them to be able to win the game on the field and not be controlled, overly controlled, rather.
And a goal kick coming for Duke. That's Kabusu again, making a very nice defensive play.
Kabusu takes a lot of pride in defending his position. Rarely do you see him ever get beat in a 1v1 battle. We've seen him contribute offensively as well, but specifically on the defensive end, he is a lockdown outside back.
Pretty advanced for just to be a freshman from that position as well.
Yeah, and he's been, you know, I had a chance to meet him actually a couple of summers ago when he was down on a visit, and he's been around this team for a long time, and he's been prepared for a couple of seasons and watching and knew what his opportunity was and who he was stepping in for. So he's a young man that has been preparing for this season for several seasons now.
And there's their first foul in a while, the fourth on Virginia Tech in the match. Blue Devils with the restart, and a little too quick on the restart.
Well, we mentioned those quick restarts. You know, a little too quick that time, but that's what this Duke team wants to do. They want to catch teams off guard. They want to ask questions of each defense.
Those questions have been tough ones for defenses to solve for a majority of this season.
Not many have successfully passed that test this season.
Kerr in the middle now for Hott. Keenan Hott, a nice move. Drives one from distance. It's deflected. Headed on by Virginia Tech. Massalis fighting for Duke. Hokies win the possession. Coppola to the middle. Good ball. Oh, off the boot a bit. And Spiel out to make a diving save.
Great job by Spill getting off that line to not let that even develop. Good job by Aceto not fouling there and ushering that back to his goalkeeper.
Really well played all the way around.
Yeah, good defensive effort.
Over 20 minutes in to this first half, just your overall assessment of what we've seen thus far.
Honestly, very slow. Very slow, a lot of back and forth action. I don't think either team has really seized control of the tempo of this match yet.
The current pace, does it favor Virginia Tech more?
I think it does. You know, the longer they can stay even and keep this a low-scoring match, this falls into their style of game.
Does the pressure start to mount on Duke the longer this game is scoreless or tied?
It absolutely does. I mean, this team has been through a lot as well. They've played some quality opponents. But yeah, when you're the favorite and you've got the postseason ambitions this team deservedly has, the longer this goes at this pace and without a score, the more pressure that mounts.
Been a little unlucky for Virginia Tech as well. The Hokies have not won a match since October the 15th, and they beat Winthrop. They've not won an ACC match since they beat Syracuse back in September. Over their last 4 matches, 2 ties and a couple of 1-goal losses, including that 2-2 tie with Clemson last week in the regular season finale. And both coaches, when Duke looked at the film and even talking with Coach Brizendine of Virginia Tech, felt like the Hokies were a bit unlucky not to have won that match.
Yeah, Coach Briz said we did enough. You know, we did enough to win the match, and goals change things is a big quote of his. And, you know, a couple of untimely goals in that match allowed Clemson to tie it up, but, you know, was very proud of their overall performance. You know, this team in general wants to continue evolving and improving each match.
And even talking to Coach Curry, he said, you know, you look at some of the opportunities Virginia Tech had, they could have maybe been up 3 or 4 goals in the first half against the Tigers.
Yeah, and even in this match, you know, Chow has had 2 quality chances. He had the header at the very beginning on the first set piece, and then takes an unfortunate touch on this build right here. Was well defended, but they get chances. They get players in the box. It's just capitalizing.
Back to Wenzel. Whiffed on there. Back to the Hokies. Pleasance couldn't control it.
Now we do, to your point, we see Duke pressing higher, playing a higher line. They're not letting Virginia Tech build on the back as they did the first 10 minutes of this match.
And our first card of the contest, perhaps.
And we mentioned control of the match. Here's our first talking to. And that was a little bit of an over-aggressive foul near midfield. I respect the ref greatly for calling him in. Let's have a little conversation. We want to keep 11 on the pitch.
See the foul count. 4-3 in favor of the Hokies. And another foul against Duke. Blue Devils trying to be maybe a little too aggressive there. It's hot, the culpable party.
And that's the challenge, to not allow the pressure to get you off your game plan and to start pushing unnecessarily, pressing.
Another free kick opportunity for Virginia Tech. You expect this ball to be in the box or on frame?
I expect same place, far post. They've got a couple of runs, middle of the box, which I expect to spin around and get some outside box action.
And a foul against Virginia Tech. Contact there with Spiel. And Duke survives again. Roach, who has been red hot for Virginia Tech, couldn't get that one past the Duke keeper.
He's a big target up there. Had an amazing freshman season last year. He was in position, and honestly, there was a little hand checking between him and Kenny Houghton there.
Roach, a couple of goals in his last 3 games for Virginia Tech. Love it when your best players start to play their best this time of year.
Absolutely. He's got 4 in his last 5, I believe. So yeah, he's been on fire. He's been their main offensive catalyst.
Tied with Hackenberg for the team lead with 5 goals. And a push from behind. Roach will get a talking to.
Again, you know, good job by the ref. Very similar foul than we just saw in Clements. Now they both get their talking to. I would expect cards from here on out.
Another look.
And we see him coming in. He's trying to get the ball from Luke Thomas. He just got a little too much foot, and it was from behind, hence the talking to.
You mentioned the great season for Roach as a rookie last year. Tied for the lead in goals on the team with 4.
He made an immediate impact.
Say he enjoys cooking, trying to cook up a win for the Hokies tonight.
I like that. Man of culture.
Being from Denmark, I wonder what kind of culinary delights he whips up, maybe in his dorm or his apartment.
Maybe we should ask him after the match. Far more advanced than my culinary abilities at that phase of life.
Or perhaps even now.
Or perhaps even now. Yes.
Under 20 minutes to go in the opening 45 from Koskinen Stadium in Durham. Pleasance through the middle. Ahead for Bjornsson. Does he have an angle? Taken away by Virginia Tech. Kept in the box. Blue Devils still with possession. Hot turns, deflects it off a Hokie. Bjornsson. A slight slither. Masalis had it blocked. And out to Clements to reset.
Chris, they aren't scoring yet, but this Blue Devil team is so confident in the build in front of the box. Just look at those few series of touches and patience and composure at the top of the box to get guys in position.
This has sort of been what we've seen from Duke all year long, these half chances that lead to goals late in the first half.
Yeah, we see Kerr to Burns to Masalis, and he wants that one back. He was set up perfectly, just needed to slot that one.
Well, Masalis has certainly been one of the mainstays for this Duke lineup. Preseason ACC watch list, made the ACC freshman team a couple of years ago, and wears the captain's armband again this season for John Kerr.
Also wears the smallest shin guards I think I've ever seen.
Ouch.
I don't know if the ref checked those before the match.
We're just going to keep playing. We're
just going to keep it rolling. But Masalis is quite the player. There's a reason he was drafted by Real Salt Lake last year. He will be a pro.
Throwing coming here for Hensley and Virginia Tech. Hensley, the only player to start all 17 games for the Hokies a year ago. And a foul against Duke. You know, Hensley has been quite the versatile player for Virginia Tech. Last year he played midfield, center back, and wing back for this Tech club.
So a lot of different positions, especially at this level. You got to be a pretty diverse player to be able to step in.
Thomas, the header. And back to the Blue Devils. Virginia Tech seems to be playing with a little bit of frustration in the final 16 minutes. Cardona try to connect one. Room here on the wing for Coppola. Into the box and Spiel down to a knee.
Chris, I agree with you. Definitely a bit of frustration, but you know what? It's starting to emerge as a chip on their shoulder. I feel like the last 5-10 minutes they've been more aggressive. They're trying to take more of this match to the Blue Devils.
Big night around the ACC, Cedric. ACC tournament going on. You see Cal and North Carolina even at 1 in the 56th minute. Winner of this game gets the winner of that game. And how about that? Number 2 seed Clemson. That game was 1-1 last we checked in on it. The Tigers have exploded for a pair of goals.
Yeah, this conference is, there's no easy nights, Chris Edwards.
None at all. I mean, you've got to play the gauntlet in this league just to get to Cary for the semifinals.
I mean, those are arguably, could be NCAA quarterfinal type matchups.
And you think about Clemson last year, the Tigers in a position against Duke in the first round of the ACC tournament, unsure of their postseason fate, ended up beating Duke in penalty kicks in the first round. They got hot at the right time and won the national title.
Yeah. In pretty dominating fashion.
Yeah. Had to beat Notre Dame, another ACC member, to win the national title. So speaks volumes to how competitive this league is.
It really does. And I know this Duke team, to your point, Coach Kerr used that as a building block coming into the season. We were right there, guys. We were right there with the country's best.
And really trying to use that, to your point, as motivation for his team. You think back a couple of years ago, this Duke team in 2022 reached the quarterfinals and had that tough loss at home to St. Louis. Duke's trying to build off those past experiences, learn from them, and now reach the College Cup this year.
Well, that championship pedigree is what builds championship expectations and mentality. And this team has that culture. They have those expectations. These guys have been there. They've won the big matches. They finally have the veteran leadership in place, both defensively and offensively. This team is built for a postseason run.
And Duke certainly in the postseason. Duke now just really playing for the seeding, trying to be one of those top seeds to be able to play at home through the duration of the NCAA tournament. Bjornsson. Duke keeps it into the box. A flick deflected by the Hokies. And Duke will get the corner kick. Nice play by Kerr to help win the corner for Duke. Third corner kick of this opening half for the Blue Devils. It'll be Ruben Masalas who has the honor. Sub in for Virginia Tech. Ethan Hackenberg off the bench. Remember, he's tied for the team lead with 5 goals, and this is where Tech has excelled in terms of scoring goals.
Super sub. This is usually when it happens for them. So look for in-swinger from Masalas, the lefty. Look out for Cinti Clements, the animal in the box, trying to get on the end of this.
Clements trying to shake free, headed away by the Hokies. Kabusu, and the possession, 1 to Duke. Subs for the Blue Devils as well. Duke brings a quartet on. Cameron Kerr, Felix Barajas, Jose Ortega, and Adam Luckhurst. Luckhurst maybe that super sub as well for Duke with the 11 goals off the bench.
He's an energy guy. He makes an instant impact. We obviously know he can score, but he similar to a Colton Pleasance, he puts his print and stamp on a game and a lot of other things. And that effort is the main catalyst.
Transfer from South Carolina.
And Luckhurst plays with a lot of joy. Always has a smile on his face, always engaged with his teammates.
I think Virginia Tech is pleased with the way this first half has gone.
It's 0-0 against the top goal-scoring team in the country, arguably the hottest team in the country. Yeah, but that's what they expected. Sure, they did this 2 weeks ago. You know, first half scoreless. So now it's about the second half, assuming this finishes the same way.
That's still
a lot of time to play.
A long way to go.
A lot of time to play.
And that was the point from Coach Brizendine. Have to play the full 90 minutes.
Yeah, he said they played 89 great minutes, and that 1 minute lapse where Drew Kerr scores that amazing goal is the game.
Barajas had that one deflect off a Virginia Tech player, and Duke with their 4th corner kick of the first half. Blue Devils are getting these set piece opportunities, but have not been able to convert yet.
It's number 23, Keenan Hott.
It's Keenan Hott who has the honor now.
I would expect a similar setup. Duke brings their big guys on the back post.
Headed out. And a foul in the box against the Blue Devils. That would never really threaten Wenzel in goal.
No, it really didn't. Good placement, just didn't have the runs in place to capitalize. Coach Kerr has really stressed in the box execution this season. And we've now seen a series of chances. We need to see a little better execution.
And that for Duke moving forward into the NCAA tournament, those opportunities are going to become even more critical for this team.
Absolutely, and that's what championship teams do. They finish the goals they're supposed to finish.
Acito goes down, foul against Virginia Tech. And a pair of subs as well for the Hokies. Andy Sullins, 15, will check in. And Alex Perez, the rookie, number 9.
And number 15, Andy Sullins.
Chow gets a break. Now the top 2 goal scorers. Wait, we're on the pitch for Virginia Tech, but now with Roach coming off, it's Hackenberg who's the primary offensive threat for Virginia Tech.
And the tactical masterclass of a chess match continues.
Roach not exactly in a hurry to get over there, was he?
I don't think he wanted to come out.
No, no. What they say, player wants to play. To the middle for Burns. Masalis wins it. Barajas on the wing. Trying to build through the middle. Here's Kerr, and too much on that one.
Cameron Kerr, he's got the goal scoring itch. Scored his first goal of his career against Queens College a few weeks ago. We saw an example right there of when this Blue Devil team is at its most dangerous point is when they're quickly switching the point of attack from side to side and catching teams off balance and therefore creating passing lanes through the middle.
To Virginia Tech's credit, they've made life difficult for Duke to do that at times in this first half.
They really have. They've played a good match.
Masalis had it knocked down. A good first touch, even better play by Kabusu to win it back. Eight minutes remaining in the first half. Only one shot on goal between the two teams. That was credited to Virginia Tech. And the last couple of minutes have really been the microcosm of the whole first half.
Yeah, same consistent theme. Neither team has really settled the ball down and taken control of this match. There's opportunity here for this Virginia Tech squad. They're most certainly in this game.
A Virginia Tech team that is in a must-win situation. Hokies probably have not done enough to reach the NCAA tournament.
And in reality, as we mentioned earlier, all the pressure should be on this Duke team. Virginia Tech's playing with house money. They've got nothing to lose, no pressure to have.
Masalis through the middle. And a little indecision there by Masalis. Perhaps some miscommunication for the Blue Devils too.
Yeah, it looked like he was expecting a check back run. He tried to play it through.
Frustration foul perhaps there against Duke. Pressure is an interesting thing, and this is not to say Duke has not felt pressure during the regular season, but the pressure of winning in the postseason is certainly different than winning a Friday night game in the ACC. To have this opportunity for this team to feel this pressure before the NCAA tournament, is that valuable for John Kerr's squad?
It is. It's necessary for the goals they want to accomplish, and we know what they say about pressure. It either creates diamonds or busts pipes, and so it is really the how they react to the pressure.
A yellow card.
But from a coaching perspective, this is exactly what you want. You want your team to be challenged as much as possible going into the NCAA tournament.
We talked about how there was the chat earlier by the referee. We now have our first card. A yellow card has been assist to Kabusu for Duke.
See the two Silver Foxes over there taking notes for the halftime discussion.
Probably will be a spirited halftime discussion.
I would imagine so.
And a stoppage. Blue Devils will restart. And a yellow card has been assessed to Virginia Tech. So the referee trying to rein the match in a little bit in the final 6 minutes of the opening half.
And I think he's done a very good job of managing this. He's had discussions when necessary, and when it's time for the cards to come out to keep things stable, you bring them out.
A yellow card has been assessed to Virginia Tech's number 24, Ian Marcano.
Marcano, the rookie, gets the yellow. So one aside now in terms of the cards. Both those players have to be a little more cautious defensively. Luckhurst tried to sneak through. Looking for an angle, batted off a Hokie. And it'll stay with Duke. It was Ortega trying to win the ball for his teammates. into the box, and really nothing there for the Blue Devils, although turned over and in front, a ricochet opportunity, and the offside flag is up.
Offside, Duke.
It was a good run by Kenny Hott to get himself in position for that initial attempt. It's well defended.
Five minutes to go, opening half. 5 shots for Duke, none of them on target.
Yeah, it'll be a spirited halftime discussion.
Now, as we talked about earlier, Duke has very much excelled in the second half, outscoring teams 40-10. Some of that could be the tempo that Duke has played with in the first half, really wearing down their opponents. Although tonight, could make an argument Virginia Tech has controlled the tempo for much of this first 40 minutes.
Well, and this is what Virginia Tech doesn't want to intentionally slow the match down, but they've done it by the way they've played and really by having numbers behind the ball and effectively stopping counters.
Now Virginia Tech looking for a late first half goal. Hokies into the top of the box, and that one ushered aside easily by Duke.
Kabusu tried to step in front of that ball. Rare mistake he's made this evening. He's been rock solid defensively.
All the way back to Spiel, who will help restart for the Blue Devils. See Virginia Tech not exactly pressing as high as they were earlier.
Very low line of confrontation.
Burns forced to retreat. Acito retreats even further back to Wenzel.
What also tells me, you know, Coach Brizendine did a good job of breaking down game tape from his Duke last match against Notre Dame. What Duke did in that first half when Notre Dame was dropping on a low block in terms of line of confrontation is they brought the ball out and opened the match up. We saw them going backwards, opening it up, creating passing lanes, and then attack. And ultimately drew Notre Dame out in a higher line. Virginia Tech's been very patient this evening with that line.
It takes a commitment, too, to be that patient.
It does, because your natural instinct is to go.
Winner gets the winner of Cal and North Carolina. Coming up next in this ACC tournament. We'll break down some of the first half scores coming up at halftime. The road to Cary beginning tonight. And what a beautiful venue to have. The ACC, the College Cups, to be here in North Carolina. It's really become a hotbed for collegiate soccer.
Hotbed is right, and absolutely one of the best pitches in the entire country.
Masalis calls for it. Luckhurst got in position off the ricochet from the header. Instead, it's Kerr trying to win it. Virginia Tech now looking to reverse. Hokies pushing forward. Oh, and a save by Spiel.
And honestly, Chris, this approach to the press from Virginia Tech is starting to create problems for the Blue Devils. We've seen 2 successive series where there's been a turnover and they have quickly an offensive opportunity. Great save by Spiel. That ball had some heat on it. Typically, Duke has been content to knock the ball around their back line with a lot of confidence. We've seen a little impatience in terms of trying to get the immediate long ball over the top to one of these forwards versus, you know, their identity is to build. You know, they keep the ball on the ground, they build it through the middle, they get expansive, then they go.
Tough turnover for Virginia Tech when they had some momentum. Hokies still trying to force one final opportunity in the final minute.
Remaining in the first half.
Luckhurst trying to charge ahead. Back it comes to Wenzel. And that might sort of put a end to this first half, although Tech still with time if they could get a turnover here instead of foul against the Hokies. The Virginia Tech player took the brunt of that one, holding the right elbow, it appears. Take another look.
I think he fell awkwardly.
Oof. Oof.
Yeah, Clements came down on his arm.
Looks like it's Marcano, the rookie out of Gaithersburg, Maryland. He's played so well for Virginia Tech this season. Pair of goals, 5 assists.
And just an unfortunate challenge. He was coming in at a little lower position. Clements already had a beat on it and just came down a little hard on his elbow.
Good sign. Up and moving the elbow around.
It's a great sign. One thing I'll point out, one thing I've always respected about Coach Brizendine, his relationship with his players. Anytime I've ever been associated with one of his games and there's an injured player, he's always the first on the pitch. And that's rare from a head coach.
Just a phenomenal coach, a phenomenal man away from the pitch as well.
He's one of the good ones.
A lot of good ones in this league.
There are. We're fortunate.
And nothing malicious on the part of Clements on that foul either. Virginia Tech, of course, called for the foul, but Clements just making a play on the ball.
Clements just a bigger, stronger man making a play on the ball.
It's a senior against a freshman right there.
Yep.
30 seconds to go, opening half. Marcano ready to check right back in for Virginia Tech. Back on the restart. Buckhurst heads it down. Kabusu plays it ahead. Kabusu gets it right back. A foul against Virginia Tech. 15 seconds to go. Blue Devils will have to be quick on this restart.
10, 9.
And they will stop the clock. Both sides, both coaching staffs taking umbrage with the clock stopping.
He wanted to add time. Put it at 8. He wants it at 8. He wants it at 8. Referee, what are you doing?
To say that he is not happy probably would be an understatement.
I think that would be the understatement of the match thus far.
They'll put the clock at 8 seconds. And a chance for Duke to get a big strike at the end of the first half. Masalis, one of the 2 Blue Devils over there.
This has Masalis written on it all day.
Watch Clements perhaps in the box as well. It is Masalis, swings one into the box. And a spear by Wenzel to end the half. Nothing through the first 45 minutes. Really impressive first half from both of these teams. And we'll see if the Blue Devils can find a way to move forward and continue their hot play. Virginia Tech looking for the upset. We'll have halftime coverage from Durham in just a moment.
Issues for the Duke midfield because the normal spacing lanes that were in there in terms of channels didn't exist.
Blue Devils with the opening touch to start the second half. Duke did not have a single shot on goal in that first 45 minutes. Bit of a rarity for a Duke team that averages 16.4 shots per game, only 5 total shots. Duke dumping one down low. Kabusu trying to feed one to the middle. Ushered aside nicely by Virginia Tech.
And Chris, we can already see, as expected, a pretty frenetic pace from these Blue Devils right out of the gate. They are going to press and press hard to get a goal early.
Some finals across the ACC tournament already today, and the one that means the most to these two teams. How about Cal coming across the country? The Bears, the upset of 6-seeded North Carolina, a 2-1 win for Cal. And then no surprise based on what we saw. It's Clemson moving on. The number 2 seed Tigers beating Louisville 3-1 in the first round of the ACC tournament.
Wow, that Cal UNC result, a little unexpected, but it's just a testament to any given night in this league, Chris. Very balanced.
The East Coast trip will continue for Cal, as they'll either come to Durham or go to Blacksburg for the quarterfinal matchup.
I'm sure they prefer to stay right down the street and just make a quick 15-minute drive over the Koskinen on Sunday.
Feel bad for whoever the director of operations is for Cal men's soccer.
Well, it's
a lot of moving parts right now.
Hey, it's a different dynamic, you know, introduced to this league this year with these West Coast teams.
Hey, what do you do? And then assuming Cal upsets Duke or Virginia Tech in the next round, right? Cal could have to come back. Well, I guess Cal, if it's Virginia Tech, Cal would go home to play Virginia Tech and have to come back to face whoever in the semifinals in Cary.
And to your point about all the travel, I mean, just UNC was just out west last weekend playing Stanford. So you wonder the impact of that trip. I mean, there's a lot of different dynamics to plan for now.
Hot feeds one for Kabusu. Has some space just outside of the box. Racing toward the end line. Feeds one that's kicked out, and it'll stay with the Blue Devils.
We've played 2.5 minutes. Kabusu already has 2 crosses across the 6 from that right flank position. Again, no runners. Where are the runners? Duke has to do a better job of capitalizing, executing in the box.
Bjornsson, Kabusu. Now Kerr turning. Kerr had it kick off the ankle of a Hokie. Virginia Tech, for the moment, has the possession. And it'll stay with Duke.
We'll see Duke. They're going to push as high as possible. They want to close the field. Put 11 players in a 30-yard box.
And no call there. Virginia Tech has it. Chow leaves one off. Johannes turned it over through the middle. Luke Thomas had it taken away. We have certainly seen the Blue Devils turn up the pressure in the second half.
We have. I mean, they're winning the ball defensively. The defensive effort all season has created offensive opportunities, and we're seeing that. Now we're just not seeing the offensive execution yet.
Chow plays one out to the middle. Drives one that's headed away. Here's the drive, and never really threatened Spiel.
That much threatened Spiel.
And are we going to have a review here? I believe we might. The referee coming over. Maybe wanting to see if that one was tipped by a Blue Devil.
I would assume so. This has to be a possession check.
Do you like the video review element to the game now?
I like it in that it makes the game more accurate, but it's definitely a change. You know, that has been a fundamental core tenet of soccer forever, is that, you know, you deal with the ref's decisions. Let's see.
This is what the officials are seeing there. We're being told they're going back for something previous to that. I'm wondering if it's perhaps a handball call that Virginia Tech wanted, and Duke's attacking third earlier in that possession.
It could have been. You would think with the amount of tension they're giving it is just not a simple possession type of call. The tempo is turned up. We see Coach Kerr has shed the hoodie. We're now officially in the second half.
And we were correct. It was for the handball back in the box. So it'll be a no call, we believe. Let's take another look. Let's watch for Bjornsson there. Boy, tough to tell.
Yeah, tough to tell. But again, wasn't looking at the ball, look inadvertent if there was contact.
Spiel on the restart for the Blue Devils.
And we do see a change in this line of confrontation, a higher block from Virginia Tech, now pressing up to the 18.
Bjornsson on a run. Can Bjornsson win it? He can. Feeds one for Pleasance. Pleasance looking to get to the nice angle to cross, and instead just runs out of real estate. And Pleasance takes a tumble into the fence.
Well, Chris, we see the immediate response to that high block. Just Virginia Tech stepping in that high line, that line of confrontation being at Duke's 18. Yeah, it opens up. It opens up opportunities.
Another good sportsmanship there by Stevenson to help Pleasance up. And I think Pleasance may have to come out. It looks like he's got perhaps a little bit of blood where he took that tumble into the fence. Athletic training staff will get him taken care of.
Colton Pleasance, like we said, he does not have an off button.
All gas, no brakes.
All gas, no brakes.
Blue Devils, number 26.
Adam Luckhurst is checked in for Duke. And now what a threat Duke has from an offensive attack with Luckhurst and Bjornsson both in the game. Of course, the way Duke has scored goals this year, everybody could be an offensive threat.
It's a shame you've got to go to the bench and go deep and bring in a guy like Luckhurst.
And that one on to Scandalaris Pavilion. And quickly, Pleasance right back in. Bit of a wry smile by Luckhurst.
Returning to the game for the Blue Devils.
Oh, don't worry, we will see him back very, very soon. And in all honesty, the second half is where he's done a lot of his damage this season. It's where he really comes alive.
In fairness, that's where Duke has really come alive as a unit. Played ahead, Spiel off his line. Pleasance right back in the thick of it.
Going for the header nonetheless.
Nice move by Coppola. Comes back out for Chow. Surveys. Forced all the way back to Wenzel. Virginia Tech.
A better
Aiming to build.
Yeah, build is correct.
Yeah.
You know, better in possession, more relaxed. You know, more midfield movement, more dynamic movement. Definitely some halftime adjustments that are already paying off. Really just finding the spaces and identifying where they can attack this Duke team.
Some space to operate here. Duke trying to close that space. A good defensive play by the Blue Devils, and they get it out of harm's way.
You know, but that one and done outlet from Duke, from Luke Thomas, is really a byproduct of Virginia Tech maintaining possession higher on the pitch.
Masalis wins it, and now trying to connect some passes to help the Duke build, but once again, nothing that Duke can do.
Same thing, and we see Masalis getting frustrated, telling his teammates, let's calm down, let's possess, this isn't our identity. But that is completely a byproduct of Virginia Tech getting numbers high.
Foul on Clements, and that will, for the Blue Devils standpoint, change the flow of this one. And we talked about it in the first half in terms of momentum, in terms of pressure. The longer this remains 0-0, the pressure does build on this Duke squad.
Absolutely.
Acito for Kabusu. Into the corner, Duke trying to run it down. Bjornsson cannot. And Virginia Tech quickly the other way. Burns trying to race it down for Duke. Hokies with an opportunity perhaps. Oh, maybe that was just a little bit too far off the foot, but it'll allow Virginia Tech to set up the corner kick, their second of the night.
And Chris, that was all created by Duke being too one-dimensional to start the second half. That is the third straight long ball we've seen in terms of outlet, and none of them is connected.
Marcano, the freshman, will take the corner. Do we look for this one to go into the box?
I think you have to, especially with the height advantage they have in certain positions. I would expect this one right in the middle of that box, right around that PK spot. That's where everyone's lining up.
Headed away by Luke Thomas. Burns trying to win the possession. And it will be Duke ball. So Virginia Tech one and done on that opportunity. And Tech has not really been able to capitalize, Cedric, on any of their set piece chances tonight.
No, they haven't. I mean, they've gotten dangerous set piece chances and good opportunities, good places on the field.
Even a couple of free kicks, not just the corner kicks. We think about the free kicks in the first half. Tech gets the turnover. Into the 18. Good play by Masalis. Looking for Bjornsson. And look at the white jerseys around Bjornsson.
Now Duke has to hold it here. They have to hold it up here to get numbers. Everything has been an outlet for Bjornsson, and he's by himself on an island.
Chow with the Blue Devil down. Chow through some traffic, and that one is wide.
And Kabusu took some contact on that challenge. He's a young'un. He hopped back up pretty quickly. And we see again, Kabusu does a good job of closing space. He won that ball. Looks like on the trailing leg, just caught him on the top of the foot.
Maybe a bit of an embellishment, perhaps.
That's what soccer guys do, right? Usually a little higher up the pitch, though. We don't see that much on the back line.
True.
But hey, he is a midfielder as well, so he's got that pedigree.
And just another possession wasted for Duke.
This is not, again, to your point, Chris, is the pressure starting to have an impact. Much too rushed, not the character of this team. This is when you look for your veteran leadership to calm things down, less possessed. Let's do what we've done all season to be successful.
Not what we have seen from Duke over the last month plus of the season. A Duke team that's unbeaten in their last 10 contests. They have won 5 in a row. And it has been Virginia Tech that has dominated thus far in the second half.
We talked about neither team stamping their print on this match in the first half. Virginia Tech has been the better team 10 minutes in.
And Spiel gobbles that up. Virginia Tech has been the better team in the second half, but they have very little shots on goal or even threatened Spiel in this second half.
They've been the better squad, but they haven't been dangerous, you know. But in terms of possession, in terms of identity, in terms of sense of urgency, they have it. Yeah. Right now, this Duke team doesn't.
It goes back to what Coach Brizendine told us this week, wanted to play for a full 90 minutes.
Absolutely.
Tech has done that, just not that many opportunities, and now Duke trying to connect some passes. Clements for Acito.
And interestingly enough, one thing Coach Brizendine really focused on was opportunities against Duke will come from Duke overextending themselves. We just have to capitalize on transition opportunities and be effective in the box. And we've seen that in the second half, where it's one and done. We're playing long balls.
And Duke has done a good job over the last month plus of limiting those transition opportunities for their opponents.
It's a great touch by Luke Thomas.
Pleasance on ahead looking for Thomas. Ushered aside and a foul. And a great opportunity for Duke now with a free kick coming just outside of the 18.
The immediate difference I saw in that outlet play, you had Colton Pleasance, you had Bjornsson, you had Luke Thomas, you had 3 guys in close proximity to the build. everything thus far has been usually to Bjornsson by himself.
Certainly a good call there. A lot of options out there for Duke. Bjornsson. You think about perhaps Clements here too. Kerr.
I would expect Kenny Hott to whip this one in, look for it on the far post. You have Clements and Aceto lining up over there. It's two big center backs.
Work your way in here, here we go. See it.
Curled in. Aceto heads it high. And a goal kick coming for Virginia Tech. Blue Devils did get one on frame, but not much to show for it overall.
That is exactly where they wanted the ball to go, and they wanted either Clements or Aceto on the other end of that. Aceto lined up well. That was a good defensive clearance right there.
Roach in on the action for Virginia Tech. One of the team's leading scorers, but getting it down the defensive end.
Leading scorers, and he's effective, highly effective defensively, especially in the box. I mean, he uses that 6'3" frame.
Quick one and done possession for Virginia Tech. And now a couple of balls on the pitch. Now we restart. Flicks off a Hokie. And Pleasant, ooh, won by Virginia Tech, and now they'll correct that. Every call magnified now. Bjornsson, Kabusu. And another nice defensive play from Virginia Tech. Once again, Stevenson.
This one's getting fun now, Chris. The pace has definitely picked up in the last 5 minutes.
It's been fun for a while. What are you talking about?
It's always fun to me.
A belated call, but it's Virginia Tech's ball. Coach Kerr, you saw continuing to look on. Sort of has the feel of what an NCAA tournament game would look like.
Absolutely has the feel in suspense.
Which is what you expect from a postseason match in the ACC. Turned over.
Well, Chris, to your point, especially for a team like Duke with championship ambitions, you know, not to dismiss the multiple amazing accomplishments during the season, but it's kind of all for naught if you don't perform in the postseason. That's what you're building for.
Duke building for an opportunity here into the box, and Bjornsson couldn't get there. Wenzel off his line, and a quick restart coming for Virginia Tech. Tech moving forward here. Through the middle, opportunity for Tech perhaps. Oh, and a great defensive play from the Blue Devils.
Clements has been unbelievable this evening. He has had a couple of those well-timed slides on shots. We see it again here.
Saw Weasel Spill applauding the effort as well. The Duke keeper.
And that's exactly what it is, Chris. That is pride and defensive effort, which is, again, what this team has done all season.
Something this team really had to learn through the first month and a half of the season. Was not the strongest suit for this Duke team. But Duke head coach John Kerr told us it's really been a team-wide commitment to defense.
Commitment to defense and focusing on the small things. And all started in goal with Spill. You know, he committed to not allowing in the easy goals, the tap-ins, and really controlling that box, and it has instilled confidence throughout this entire team. Coach Kerr gave a ton of credit to Spill and goalkeeper coach Cal Johnson.
And it was Spiel a couple of weeks ago in that match against Notre Dame that made some really impressive point-blank saves that changed the entire complexion of that match.
Oh, he made 2 unbelievable saves that, honestly, most goalkeepers aren't making.
But doesn't that come from the commitment to the little things, just trying to take care of the little things, and then the big things seem to work themselves out?
Absolutely. You know, especially when you have a player trying to build confidence or a team trying to get back in a match, focus on little things. Focus on your next pass, next tackle, next second ball.
What do you look for Virginia Tech to do here off this restart?
I think they're dumping it in again. This is going far post. That's where they're lining up. Now, Spill does a great job of coming off his line, so I think the key is hitting this just hard enough to get over into the box, but not on that line, and they do make contact.
But Spiel never really threatened at all.
No. Cool as a cucumber.
The Hofstra transfer started 75 career games with the Pride and has been terrific for Duke. Bjornsson's also been great for the Blue Devils, trying to help build the attack. This is Burns through the middle. Gets it to Kerr. Kerr with some space to operate. Has one in front, and Duke has the lead. It's Colton Pleasance. And Duke up 1 in the second half.
Chris, Colton Pleasance scored the laser goal last match. He created it this time. Way to anticipate and be on top of that ball. Great ball through. Started with Drew Kerr inverting and cutting in. Colton Pleasance, man, what a rocket. You see it again, Burns with that effective ball. Drew Kerr, great touch from Drew Kerr cutting across the box. Colton Pleasance, even better. First touch to get himself in scoring position. It's a great goal. Exactly what this Blue Devil team needed, Chris.
The Raleigh native, a UNCW transfer, and in the 64th minute, his 5th goal puts the Blue Devils in front. All night. And boy, the fans really into it. Perhaps a Pleasance family member down there.
A very passionate fan. Just let us know that apparently it may be Colton Pleasance's birthday today.
Wow, a birthday present to himself, perhaps.
Yes. I do know this. It is some young man's birthday who's playing on this pitch right now, who I assume is Colton Pleasance. We may have to look into that. Well, all game, but now they're quicker to the ball. There's a sense of urgency instilled.
And really, for Virginia Tech now, it is go time.
Oh, you have to. There's no looking back now. No pressure whatsoever. We go. We go.
Season on the line for Virginia Tech. Ooh, and a dangerous ball that was deflected in front. Another opportunity on a corner for the Hokies. Second corner of the half, 3rd of the match. Headed down. And boy, some physical play on the inline. And wow, a foul called against the Blue Devils.
Wow. Chris, definitely want to see this one again, just based on the reaction from the Duke team. as well as utter astonishment on the faces of the Duke coaching staff.
We'll get the review. Here's the look.
Kabusu. It's hard to see from this angle.
You see the referee point to the penalty spot. You can make a case perhaps the leg gets stuck out by the Virginia Tech player.
It's like Kabusu fell on Child's leg.
Now you've seen a couple looks. What do you think?
You know, it's one of those plays where you put it in the ref's hands and his discretion, and by the letter of the law, and he looks like he fell on him now. Would love to see a camera angle. We don't have it from the other end, but it looked like Kabusu just fell down.
A big call here.
Yeah, this is a huge call.
It was called a foul on Duke in the box, which would result in a penalty kick opportunity for Virginia Tech if the review stands.
Now, I couldn't see if their arms were tangled up or there was additional contact. It looks like Kabusu may have had him with that left arm in the front of the jersey, holding on to him as they went down. But the other question is that a legitimate goal-scoring opportunity for Child? Does he have the opportunity to possess that and actually turn it in the box and get a play on the ball?
We're going to get the verdict.
Unfortunately, enough contact where he's not taking that back.
So the penalty kick coming for Virginia Tech. Arcano against Spiel.
Now, they've earned the PK, but now they still have to get it past the man-child Spiel, who's been lights out against PKs all season. So let's see.
Teams 2 for 3 in PKs this year. But Virginia Tech as a group this season, 4 out of 5 in penalty kick opportunities. So the Hokies have been good. A little bit of gamesmanship there, perhaps.
Spiel walking by to let him know just
what's up, how you doing?
How imposing of a presence he is.
The rookie Marcano trying to even it up for Virginia Tech.
Last PK attempt I saw against Spiel went to his right. I wonder if they try to go to the other side.
Such a cat and mouse game here.
It is.
Marcano ready. Marks off the steps. Spiel makes the save. And Marcano, oh, they missed it again!
Spiel, he is rock solid in that box. Takes so much pride in defending, keeping his team in this match. In all honesty, not a very well taken PK from Marcano. Would have liked to get that further in the corner. Spiel with his 6'7" frame, even though he was going for the corner, there was enough left off to just, it's a great save.
And how about the presence of mind for Spiel to get up and look for the rebound?
Absolutely.
That'll fire up a team, won't it?
Yeah, and you love to see that, how excited his teammates are for him, how appreciative they are of his efforts.
3 saves you see for Spiel tonight. That the most crucial.
And honestly made it look easy.
Yeah. Hard to find somebody who's better than Spiel. You would assume he would, if not be an All-America, then this might be the greatest injustice that we've seen in college soccer.
I have not seen a better goalkeeper this season.
And now can Duke use that momentum that Spiel helped create to propel them to a second goal? Thomas couldn't track it down. And unfortunately for Virginia Tech, the penalty kick they didn't take advantage of, Cedric, that's really the epitome of what we've seen from Virginia Tech this year. So many great opportunities, just unable to capitalize.
As Coach Brizendine said, and that's going to be an offsides, I would think.
Yeah, playing on here.
Jorgensen's a lone wolf up there right now. He's got some help coming.
In the middle, Pleasance, who scored the goal, flicks one ahead. Bjornsson in the middle, kicked and saved by Wenzel. Blue Devils retain the possession. Looking for Kerr, perhaps? No, Bjornsson keeps it. Plays it out for Burns.
Bjornsson does such a great job of using every inch of his frame to press and repress and win balls back. Kept that in place single-handedly for the Blue Devils.
Oh, and a heavy foul there. Acito goes down.
And I'll tell you what, that was a very well-played ball by Cameron Acito. He actually lost his footing and lost momentum trying to play that ball backwards, and very wisely felt contact and went down immediately.
Goalkeepers coming up big on both sides in the second half.
And this was a great through ball for Bjornsson. Luke Thomas just missed that corner. That was a great save again. Cam Acito lost his footing and went down when he felt contact.
It was Roach who was the guilty party on the foul for Virginia Tech. Duke off the restart. And that comes all the way back out to Spiel. Boy, a lot of fireworks in the last 5 or so minutes.
Told you it was getting fun.
If you're Virginia Tech, you had that penalty kick opportunity, didn't take advantage. We've talked about the inability that Virginia Tech has had to capitalize on those moments. How do you guard against the, oh no, here we go again mentality?
The natural human instinct, yes. They have to, as their coach has advised them, they have to play for 90. So they have to resist that urge to think, oh yes, here we are again. Another missed opportunity, world's against us. They have to keep playing.
Bjornsson a nice play to win it for a moment. Hot, Burns, and a foul against Duke. Both sides getting a little frustrated. Winner advances to the quarterfinals Sunday against Cal, who upset North Carolina in Chapel Hill. And a foul in the middle against the Blue Devils. And another great opportunity for Virginia Tech.
I think this appears, and I want to see this again, but appears to be one of those instances where two things can be right at the same time, where he got all ball, but it looks like there was just enough contact on the follow-through where they're calling the foul.
Roach had it for the Hokies.
Yeah, I thought that was a great tackle, just a lot of contact on the follow-through.
Acito is the guilty man for the Blue Devils. Kind of evens up. It was Acito who was fouled by Roach a moment ago.
But the ball doesn't lie, and it has a way of evening things out over time.
Now Virginia Tech with another opportunity. Chipped into the box, headed, Spiel off his line, and halts any further play.
Spill's managing this game. He's got Marsalis out there on an outlet. On the wing, he's been out there, but he's going to correctly slow it down, try to maintain possession.
Not that Duke is trying to pack it in and be conservative with this 1-0 lead, but the clock is the ally for Duke here. Oh, good ball in front. Thomas had it taken away.
It's a great ball, entry ball from Colton Pleasant.
Duke wanted a foul. Bjornsson is down. And now a foul caught against Duke. And things certainly getting pretty testy here from a Duke perspective. Bjornsson still down behind the play.
Starting to look like a game of Mario Kart out here, Chris. There's just
some banana peels out there on the track.
Bodies all over the place. Hey, we would expect nothing less, right?
And we will get another review.
We see Bjornsson again using every bit of that frame to win it back, and that looks like a foul. Absolutely.
Similar to the foul that was called a few minutes ago on Acito when he went down.
Yeah, very, very similar play. And Jorgensen felt contact and went down. That's in the box.
With the ability to have the replay, do you think it gives the referee maybe a little more leniency to call a foul or not call a foul, knowing you have a chance to correct it?
Well, it takes a little pressure off of them because we know historically, I mean, the ref makes that call, he's got to live with it, right or wrong.
Sure.
And everyone else does as well. So, yes, I think it does give a little more of an out for accuracy.
Just wish we could find a way to, you know, speed the process up a little bit.
Yes.
I don't think folks came to watch this guy look at a little TV screen 5 times tonight.
Well, he hasn't been absolutely undressed by Coach Brizendine this half yet, so he's playing with house money.
That's right. We'll take another glance.
Jorgensen wins this. And there was contact on that follow through.
I wonder if the other question too is, did the foul occur inside the box or just outside of the 18?
Well, inside or outside the box, and again, did he have possession? You know, did he have a chance of winning that ball back?
Bjornsson was trying to peek over just to see if he can get an extra glance into what the referee is looking at. A lengthy review has come to a conclusion. No PK, they say. But I believe we are going to get a foul, perhaps, on Virginia Tech.
And I attribute that to him not having possession of the ball. That foul absolutely looked like it was in the box. His momentum took him outside of the box, but the contact was inside.
So I beg your pardon, no foul called. We're just going to play on. So we live with what we had. So a 2-minute review just to arrive at the same conclusion we had.
Here we go.
Masalis plays it back for Clements. And Virginia Tech will have to build again.
He's working.
Can you believe it?
A dangerous ball. Thomas nearly won it for Duke. Virginia Tech with multiple opportunities in the second half, including a penalty kick that Spiel was able to save. No foul there, and Spiel watches that one go wide. Subs for Virginia Tech. Perez is back in for the Hokies. Ethan Hackenberg also returning. Remember Hackenberg, number 17 there on your screen. 5 goals this year. Virginia Tech trying to find that super sub again. 8 of their 13 goals have come after a sub. The first goal they have scored, which would be true in this instance as well.
Hockenberg's got a little creative art going on with his socks in the back. That's what the kids are doing these days.
Trendsetters.
Trendsetters, man.
Pleasance, who has the goal for Duke, plays it on ahead. Bjornsson trying to shake free. Missed opportunity by Hott. Now the Hokies the other way. Here's Hackenberg. Hackenberg trying to create some space. Turned over. Can Pleasance run it down? He cannot. Clemens heads it down. Not out. Virginia Tech trying to build an attack. A slither of space for the Hokies closes quickly, and Burns a good outlet there. Kerr charges forward, and no chance for Bjornsson to track it down.
Say Drew Kerr going to his right is like a cheat code because everyone knows about his magical left boot, so you expect him, and he's inverted, so you expect him to cut in naturally. Always catches defenders off guard.
Throw-in coming for the Blue Devils. There's Hackenberg in his fancy socks. You see his career total as the Coastal Carolina transfer having his best career season this year.
He is, and he's doing it as a super sub apparently.
It's the socks.
It's the socks, man.
But also nice to see a guy who has really paid his dues and honed in on his craft to have some career best success in his final year.
Yeah, and that Coastal Carolina squad, I happen to know quite a few guys who transferred out of that program, but there's some talent there. So a lot of pedigree, and he's shifty. You know, he can create things. We've seen him try to make an impact right off the bench. He got the ball immediately. So really, they're going to hang out. He's going to hang out on this wing. We're going to see him try to get as wide as possible, create an opportunity for him to go one-on-one against Kabusu.
You would wear some socks like that, wouldn't you?
I don't know if I'm cool enough to pull it off anymore.
You are, no doubt. Virginia Tech, oh, they tried to get it to Hackenberg, and a late call on the foul. Burns with some frustration. You know, we talked about Virginia Tech being frustrated in the first half. It seems like it's Duke now, the more frustrated squad.
And honestly, frustrated with themselves, you know, because they've been so explosive, especially in the second halves. A little frustration we haven't been able to put this game away yet. Because this is still very much a game with 15 minutes left.
Kabusu wins it. Hot goes down, and that might be a card. It will be.
Yep, it's coming out. There's been enough talk and warnings. That is just a late challenge.
A yellow card has been assessed to the Hokies, number 11, Oliver Roach.
Roach, the sophomore with the yellow. Second yellow against Virginia Tech tonight.
And we go back to the first half and referee's discretion to have a few conversations before tossing cards. That very easily could have been a second yellow. We see Duke a little more patient now on their line of confrontation. Really working to manage this match, make sure there's no open passing lanes or outlets in the middle of the pitch.
Good for Duke to get a match like this at the start of postseason.
Absolutely. You want to be tested, and you're going to be against any ACC opponent, so it's expected. But this is a different look for this team. You know, let's be honest, they've blown a lot of teams out, especially in the second half. So having to stay focused for 90 minutes and manage this game is only going to make them better.
In for Bjornsson, who goes down, and a penalty kick coming for Duke.
And he earned that one. Burns with the great quick outlet. Bjornsson, great run through. Legitimate contact, that's a PK all day.
Bjornsson clearly taken down.
And really Burns created that. One, the patience and ability to hold that ball up. Burns is pretty excited.
He's been working for that call for a while.
Hey, he knows what he just did. He created this goal-scoring opportunity for his team, held the ball up effectively, allowed numbers to get up very patiently and a lot of composure, waited for his number 9 to come through, found him streaking through.
This will be the first penalty kick that Wenzel has faced this year. Bjornsson and Gardner just exchanging pleasantries. Gardner saying, hey, sorry about that. Bjornsson and Pleasance having a quick chat.
I think Colton Pleasance may have had some ambition of taking that one, but Wolfie's not giving that one up.
No, he's not. Not the guy who scored 12 times this year.
12 times, a chance to jump into the top 5 nationally in terms of goals scored. Take the ACC co-lead at 13 for the season.
And put your team up 2 goals with 13 plus minutes to go. Perhaps a chance to host a quarterfinal game here against Cal.
And as we alluded to a few minutes ago, a chance to put this game away.
Yeah.
You know, finally create some distance, really manage this match.
Bjornsson against Wenzel. Oh, a save by Wenzel to keep it a one-goal match. First penalty kick that Wenzel faces this year, a brilliant kick save.
Yeah, that is a brilliant kick save. And honestly, not the best taken PK. Again, we've seen 2 PKs and neither one of them has been taken that effectively. We see Cal Renfro, former Duke assistant, with the sly smile over there.
Cam Kerr is checked in for the Blue Devils. One of a couple subs for Duke here. 13.5 minutes left. Bjornsson targeted once again, finds Kerr. Into the corner. And Luck Kerr's trying to win it for Duke. And it will be a corner for the Blue Devils.
Roommate to roommate, those guys know each other quite well. Good job by Cam Kerr digging that cross out of nowhere. That ball looked like it was going out of bounds.
Back to the penalty kick just a moment ago.
And again, very similar save to what we just saw on the other side from Spiel.
Salas will take the corner.
Hey, it goes top, you go, Willie. AP, come to me. AP, come to me. We're good. I got you. Away.
Far post, nobody home. And Virginia Tech weathers that storm. Couple of veteran goalkeepers dueling tonight at Koskinen Stadium. A goal by Colton Pleasance, the difference thus far. As Spiel off his line gets bumped. And Duke able to get it out of danger.
And to your point, Chris, I mean, this Virginia Tech team does not concede often. They've got 7 shutouts on the season.
Sure. An important game for Duke tonight. Obviously trying to move on, but the Blue Devils also trying, Cedric, to earn one of those top seeds in the NCAA tournament. You look at the resume for Duke. Now that loss to Grand Canyon is one that is going to hurt the resume a bit, but I certainly feel like Duke, at least John Kerr, feels like his team has done enough to host throughout the postseason.
Absolutely. I think they've done enough to put themselves in position, and very deservingly so should be hosting from here on out.
Top 4 seeds, of course, host in the NCAA tournament throughout. Just how much does the committee value the ACC? How many top 4 seeds does the ACC get? And a lot of question marks.
I mean, you could argue, outside of maybe in Ohio State, that every single one of those other 3 seeds should be an ACC team.
I mean, I feel like Pitt and Clemson probably, definitely.
Yeah, you would think. I mean, look at the top 3 seeds in the ACC.
That's what I'm saying. It's got to
Pitt,
be
Clemson, Duke.
Yeah.
I would think Pitt is 100% one of those top 4.
Clemson finished number 2 in the league.
Won tonight in convincing fashion.
Very much so. And the reality, too, is if Duke, Clemson, Pitt, these teams continue to win, you're going to continue to get games, in theory, against high RPI teams.
Yeah. So I think we just decided it. Just let the committee know.
Yeah. They should just give us the bracket, let us pencil it in.
Been telling them that for years.
Save them a lot of work. Another opportunity for Virginia Tech. Sullins, the junior, the Virginia transfer, is checked in for Virginia Tech. Played 11 matches with a goal for Virginia a couple of years ago. Interesting that Johannes coming out here with 10 minutes left.
Yeah, he's the guy who's been the engine. So strategic sub to get a little more energy into the game.
Deep throw in into the box. Acito creates the turnover. And the Blue Devils have to throw in. Now Duke, I would imagine, really goes into game management with less than 10 minutes left.
You read my mind. I've looked at how many times Cam Acito has gone down to the ground. I can hear Coach Kerr thinking, all right, guys, we need to get through this game, manage it, get off the pitch with 11 healthy players.
Kerr tracks it down. Feeds one in the middle, looking for Hot. Goes past him. Here's a strike and a 2-0 lead for the home-standing Blue Devils. It's Bjornsson with his team-leading 13th of the year.
He just wanted to score the wonder goal. He missed the PK. What an assist from Cam Kerr, quickly getting that ball across. Bjornsson with an absolute rocket to that far corner. We see it again, Cam Kerr. I believe that was Kenny Hott. Wisely let that ball run through, open up the space. Yep, Bjornsson does what a number 9 does. That's leading his team in scoring. Number 13.
Nothing Wenzel could do with that one.
And his reaction said that. He didn't even have a chance to adjust. He didn't move.
Just watched it sail on by, and when you're having the kind of season that Bjornsson is, the ball just seems to find you in those crucial moments.
When preparation meets opportunity. Ultimate composure, and that's not an easy goal. I mean, that's from 20 yards out, and he made it look very easy again.
So Kerr checks in just in time to pick up his 4th assist of the year. And now for Virginia Tech, it is in the danger zone, down 2 goals. Under 9 minutes to go and the season on the line for the Hokies.
And both assists coming from the Kerr brothers from the right wing.
Can Duke get another here? Back to Wenzel. Now, this is a Virginia Tech team that has had recent success, multiple NCAA tournament appearances for the Hokies in season after season, and a program that is trying to get back to that pedigree as they look ahead to next year.
They've had some very good teams. They've had several players playing professionally right now. They've done a great job of recruiting the transfer portal. They just happen to play in the ACC. Yeah.
And the expanded ACC now, Stanford, Cal, you know, just how much tougher the league has gotten.
Oh, yeah. SMU, I mean, powerhouse after powerhouse.
Duke may be a good example, Cedric. This Duke team picked to finish 7th in the ACC in the preseason. They finished 3rd, but it just goes to show you get picked 7th in the ACC. That's like getting picked 4th or 5th in the ACC 2 years ago.
Absolutely, and we spoke about this during the Notre Dame game. Going into that match, Duke could have finished anywhere from 2nd to 8th in the league, and they're the number 5 team in the country, up to number 2 this week.
Bjornsson takes that one away.
It is so hard to get the ball off of Bjornsson.
Blue Devils on that bench, able to breathe maybe a little bit easier now with the 2-goal lead. And a good play all the way around there. So unless Cal is able to come up with 2 goals here in the final 7 minutes, unless Virginia Tech can come up with 2 goals in the final 7 minutes, it'll be Duke and Cal here on Sunday.
I was going to say, Cal might be a little tired from just
They
playing the
might
match.
be, yeah, sorry.
They're close by, but I don't know if they're coming over tonight.
I don't whistling a foul.
But yes, unless we get some amazing theatrics to finish this match from Virginia Tech.
Yellow card assessed there. I believe it's on Hackenberg. That'll be the 3rd Virginia Tech yellow card tonight.
To the Hokies, number 17.
And that's just a frustration play there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that time in the match, and it's that point in the season for this Virginia Tech team.
Entering the game for the Blue Devils, number 21, Nicholas Witter.
Witter checking in for Duke. Day is done for Kabusu, who played so well defensively for Duke.
as you mentioned, great game from
Yeah.
the freshman Kabusu.
But at this point in the year, postseason play, probably don't think of your freshmen as true freshmen anymore.
No, that point of the season's over. As the kid would say, what's the Drake lyric? I'm the rookie and the vet. That's
Oh, no, I hit the post. Nearly a third goal for the Blue Devils. A bit unlucky. And it was Ortega who had the strike.
And this is how this season has gone. You know, once they put games away, then the floodgates open. So we've seen a lot of games end for this Duke team with a scoring barrage.
Duke 5.5+ minutes away from another clean sheet. And Spiel was a big part of the Duke effort tonight. The save on the penalty kick that kept the game in the Blue Devils' favor. And Virginia Tech trying to get a goal here with 5 minutes to go.
And we see Spiel with his 5th shutout, tied for 4th in the ACC. But that has been a microcosm of this season. You know, his defensive intensity and consistency in the box has led to offensive opportunities.
Spiel taking a couple moments, managing the game well. And barring something unforeseen, it would be the 11th straight match for the Blue Devils that they would be unbeaten. It would be their 6th consecutive win. This Duke team has found just another gear in the month of October and now into November. Kerr chips one ahead, headed away. Luckhurst trying to fight for the possession. Comes out to Hackenberg, who battles for it. And Hackenberg, oh, that's dangerous play. Lucky he didn't pick up another card there.
Yeah, hard foul, probably a little bit of exaggeration, but a hard foul on the sideline nonetheless, right in front of the Duke bench. You're going to always elicit a reaction.
A frustrating season for Virginia Tech. Obviously, finishing with a winning record, all those are good things, but Hokies felt like they probably left some meat on the bone this season throughout the course of the league schedule.
And Chris, this is a very talented team, you know, so they hold themselves to a high standard and expectations that they deserve. And yeah, they've underachieved considering this roster we're looking at. I mean, they played this Duke team, gave them all they could have in the first half.
The margins are so thin.
So thin.
Think about the save by Spiel on the penalty kick. If it becomes a 1-1 game, you never know how the game's going to shake out after that.
Yeah, you know, we've played 88 minutes, and for 86, it's been a fairly even match. You just had a few explosions from this Duke team where they've been the better team and they've capitalized and finished in the box, and that's been a difference.
It's really been the story for Duke for the last month plus.
Really has, and that's what good teams do. Teams with championship pedigree and expectations, you win the games you're supposed to win.
Let's look ahead for a moment to Sunday for Duke and Cal in the second round of the quarterfinals of this ACC tournament. Cal, the 11 seed, they've already upset one team, beating North Carolina tonight in Chapel Hill. Dangerous club coming to Durham on Sunday.
Very dangerous club, and honestly a similar matchup to this in terms of expectation. Cal needs to keep winning to make sure they put themselves in position to guarantee a spot in the postseason. And then, you know, you get to that point in the ACC tournament, anything can happen.
Yeah. As we've talked about already tonight, look at Clemson a season ago.
And look, I'm sure a part of that pregame speech of Cal is we're not going to the West Coast for one game. You know, we're going to set up shop. We plan to be out there for the next 3 weeks.
Pushed ahead. Under 2 minutes to go.
Andy, you
Roach lost it to Masalis. Duke maybe looking for one more to put the exclamation point on this one. Bjornsson with some space and a save by Wenzel. Santiago Clements goes down. Foul against Virginia Tech with 75 seconds to go.
He came down very hard on that header. Looks like he knocked the wind out of himself.
Acito and Spiel over to check on their teammate. Just needs a moment. Wonder if he came down and maybe landed awkwardly on his backside.
The way Clements is walking away right now, that is. So for an entire summer, I thought he was injured all summer, because every match he plays, he leaves everything on the pitch just like this, and he walks away looking like he's been in battle. He's drenched in sweat and he's limping and he can barely walk and he's fine.
Like he just woke up from a nap or something. Oh, I'm good, coach. A minute to go. Blue Devils with another big second half. This game was 0-0 at the break. And like Duke has done all season long, a second half explosion. They've now outscored their opponents 42-10 in the final 45 minutes. Virginia Tech looking to put one on frame. They do, but Spiel makes the save, and that'll pretty much do it here tonight from Durham.
So not only, 42-10 the second half, but an overall goal differential of 40 on the season. It's incredible.
Video game-like numbers.
Yeah.
Spiel in no hurry to get that one away. A foul against the Blue Devils. Bjornsson with some nice sportsmanship. And Virginia Tech just pushes forward in the final 10 seconds.
9, 8, 7.
Hackenberg flicks one. Spiel picks it up, and that will be it. A dog pile for the Devils as they march on in this ACC tournament. The season ends for Virginia Tech. A big second half for Duke as Bjornsson and his teammates advance to the quarterfinals on Sunday to face the 11 seed Cal Bears.